Wednesday. I am Kalila Johnson at KalilaJohnson.com. I am the CEO of Undefeatable University, a self-development, self-discovery, and trauma recovery online training community. And I am also a generational impact leader and a legacy strategist and your undefeated life coach. I'm here with a message. It is Lazarus, come forth. The evidence is not proof. And the message is so powerful because I didn't just have the message, I was given the message. I love when God downloads dreams, and there was a situation, circumstances my husband and I were dealing with, and it seemed like it was for lack of better words, dead. It was over. And, we released it to God and we just said, Father, your will be done. And we raised our hands and we went about our day. And yesterday I gave the word of the Lord and what he had given me. And today there was this dream. I had prepared the message that I was going to give today. And for those of you that don't know, each of these messages that are on Instagram and Periscope, there is also a full version on Facebook at Kalila D. Johnson. Follow me there. There's a whole longer, fuller version of each one of these messages. And so as I was dreaming, and I saw that situation, and I saw myself speaking over that situation and speaking to it, and I kept seeing the words, Lazarus, arise, Lazarus, come forth. And so the word of the Lord that I'm taking this from is John 11:43, and the word says, now when he said these things, he cried with a loud voice, Lazarus, come forth. And the thing that fires me up about this word is because when God gives you a word, he says that it doesn't matter what the evidence looks like. It doesn't matter whether it's the finances, whether it seems like the business is not going like you thought, or you are about to just close the book and say, you know what, I can't do it. I'm not able to go back to school. I'm not able to mend that relationship. I'm not able to recover from this circumstances. But God says, I want you to understand that the proof is that God's proof overrides any evidence that you may see. I don't know if it's a diagnosis. I don't know whatever the circumstances are. I want you to understand that with God, he's given you life and death in the power of your tongue. And so we have been given the ability to decree a thing, and we decree the truth of the matter. And we don't have to worry about whether or not this situation looks too far beyond, because if you remember the story about Lazarus, his sister came to Jesus and said, look, what happens now? If you had come sooner, if you hadn't taken your time getting here, I told you I sent for you, and I told you he was dying. Like, why did you wait so long? Jesus he wasn't responding to the evidence. He wasn't responding to the diagnosis. He wasn't worried about the thing because he knew that he had resurrection power in his mouth. And so what he did was, the first thing that he did is remove the naysayers. He removed the people that would agree with the diagnosis of death. And he said, get the grievers out of here. And he says, Lazarus is not dead. Lazarus is just sleeping. Maybe the circumstance that you're looking at right now looks completely just too much for anyone to be able to do anything with, but that thing's not dead. He says that thing's just sleeping. Maybe there's something inside of you that you seem like you think that, oh, it's over for you. I'm too old for this now. But that thing's not dead. That thing was just sleeping, and I need you to raise up. I need you to start to speak to that thing as if it's already alive. I need you to say, Lazarus, come forth. I need you to talk to that thing that looks like it's beyond your circumstances, because this is where God says, I can start to defy a thing. If you could just have the faith to believe me instead of what you see, instead of the diagnosis, instead of the evidence that you're looking at in front of you, instead of the mountains of things that seem like it's out of your way, just move the grievers out of the way. Move the people that will agree with the diagnosis and start to believe me instead. I'm telling you to speak to that thing because I've given you the power to speak life. And so whatever your circumstances right now, I know that this sounds like just a word, but I am the person that was once in 2005. I tried to take my own life, and for much of the truth, I did, because there was no pulse. And my mother tells the story of where the ambulance waited, the EMTs kept me in that they wouldn't even let her come because they said the amount of pills that I had taken, I might not make it through the ride. And so when she got to the hospital, they were still keeping me on the ambulance because they were trying to resuscitate me, because because God says, I spoke to your pulse and I said, come forth, because it's not your time yet. And so when God said at that moment, everything around me, when you understand that in order to get to a place of desperation, believing that the only way out is to end your own life, you have to know that there's a place that seems like all the evidence is piled up against you. The enemy puts in all the things in front of you to show you that there's no way out of this circumstance. But God says, I've spoken to you. I've spoken to life in you. I've spoken to the thing that I placed on the inside of you, and I declared, get up, come forth. It's not over yet. And so that very thing that when my pulse was gone and I wake up with tubes down my throat and the nurse is saying, you're so lucky. And the pain hitting me again, feeling like, oh, the pain, the torment. But God knew that he wasn't done, and that he had a purpose in my life. And that doesn't matter what it looked like. It didn't matter how dark the circumstances looked at that moment. So I don't care what circumstances look right now. I am declaring as evidence, as the demonstration of God arising on the other side of this thing, that what I needed to do was trust God with my life. And when I gave my life over to God, he did such an amazing thing with the broken pieces of what looked like. It could never measure to anything. What looked like a life that had just done too much and had made too many mistakes. But God said, I've spoken to your Lazarus, and I said, come forth. And so now, with the same resurrection power of God that raised me from the dead, I'm speaking to you. I'm speaking to that circumstances. I'm speaking to that mountain. I'm speaking to that thing that looks like it's out of control. It seems like there's no way in earth that it can live, and maybe there's not, but there's a heavenly divine aspect. And so we override the evidence of the diagnosis. We override the evidence of the circumstances, and we declare a thing, the proof of heaven, and says, talks to your Lazarus and says, come forth. And so I want to encourage you, whatever it is that you're going through right now, whatever it is that seems like, you felt like you got the word of the Lord. You felt like this thing was supposed to look this way and it looks a different way. I want you to start to raise your hands and submit it to God and ask him for the next instructions in order for you to decree a thing and start to declare a thing. I have on my website at KalilaJohnson.com a free download, and go to my store, which is Undefeatable University. And there is a free download that I am giving away that is a curse breaker decree. Saturate yourself with truth. And for a limited time, for the next only until Black Friday, my course that is usually $149, my new course, 21 Days of Mastering Mental Momentum. It is the foundational steps in order to get unstuck and become productive. And everything that you do, we say that we're going to have an amazing year, but we don't take the practical steps. We are three-part people. We are mind, body, and soul. And so God doesn't just expect us to shout about a thing and declare a thing, but he expects us to put in the practical work as if we know that this thing must come to pass. And so there's discipline that goes along with that. And so I am offering this for right now, $1 a day, $21 for $1 a day. And there's a coupon that I have. I have it, and I'll put it in the notations. But if you go to my Facebook or you go to my page, KalilaJohnson.com, you can click on the link on the home page, and you can go to 21 Days of Mastering Mental Momentum, and it will send you to the link of the course. Get that now. It is only going to be there for, that coupon is only going to be there for the next, until Black Friday, and until after that, it'll be going back to $149. And so I want to admonish you today. God bless you. God bless you. God bless you. I want to encourage you today that Lazarus, that thing that seems like it's over your head, it is not dead. And also I want to remind you that transformation is intentional. Change requires commitment, and you are your greatest investment. And until around this time tomorrow, I am Kalila Johnson, your undefeated life coach, encouraging you to, in order to make impact, you must begin within. Get on my mailing list at KalilaJohnson.com and get that course. Get the steps in place in order to take control of your life. God bless. God bless.